A little bit more than what we saw yesterday, and some big changes as we head towards the weekend. It's all coming right now. First at 4.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
That breaking news takes us to southwest Detroit, where a mother and son have been shot while sitting inside of a car. Unfortunately, the mother has died. Her little boy just rushed to the hospital. Local 4's Priya Matt has been talking with police. Priya, what do we know about how this happened?
Well, Karen, this is what we know at this point. The shooting happened around 1:15 this afternoon. Just a short time ago, there were a lot of families out here in southwest Detroit. It was truly a heartbreaking scene. Now, police are saying that 44-year-old mom was with her 10-year-old son. They were traveling on Downing Street near Bassett, and they were parked when 4 black men got out of a vehicle and began shooting at the victim. The 44-year-old woman was shot and killed. Her 10-year-old son was also shot and rushed to the hospital. Here's what police had, the latest on their investigation.
The vehicle that we're looking for right now is a black Chrysler 300 with a partial plate of 413. We are interested in locating that vehicle as soon as possible.
So again, police are looking for that vehicle, a Chrysler 300. Family members are telling us this woman lived in Ohio. She was here visiting some family for her aunt's surprise birthday. They are just stunned that this happened. Coming up at 5 o'clock, we're going to hear from this woman's family and get the latest on that 10-year-old little boy who is fighting to survive right now. Reporting live from southwest Detroit, I'm Priya Matt, Local 4.
Horrible. All right, thank you, Priya. We know you are still gathering information, so we'll check back with you at 5 for more information. Former Michigan Governor Rick Snyder was back in court via Zoom today. He is charged with 2 counts of willful neglect of duty in connection to the Flint water crisis. His legal team wants the charges thrown out because they were filed in Genesee County, which includes Flint. They say the charges should have been filed in Lansing because that is where the former governor was working at the time. Attorneys also expressed concerns about evidence in the case. Snyder will be back before a judge in February. Meantime, the former director of the Flint Department of Public Works, Howard Croft, also had a hearing before a judge. Croft faces 2 counts of willful neglect of duty in connection to the crisis. Just like Snyder, you may recall the Flint water crisis led to a regional Legionnaire's disease outbreak that killed 12 people. Now, we do have a quick update on the COVID pandemic here in Michigan, including plans from Governor Whitmer to jumpstart the state economy. First, we have seen another 1,700 new cases of the virus statewide in the past 24 hours. Also, 41 additional deaths have been recorded. This afternoon, Governor Gretchen Whitmer outlined a new Michigan COVID recovery plan. Now, the biggest boost could come in the form of $225 million for 3 programs that will support Michigan businesses. New at 5, business editor Rod Maloney is going to take a closer look at the governor's proposal and what comes next. It's official. Fiat Chrysler is now Stellantis. The new sign was unveiled this morning at its headquarters in Auburn Hills. The $58 billion deal creates the world's 4th largest automaker, owning brands like Dodge, Jeep, and Maserati. There was also a news conference today. New at 6, business editor Rob Maloney takes a deeper look at what the merger means for local jobs in Metro Detroit. All right, let's take a moment to take a look at the first forecast. Ben, some of us seem to be kind of stuck with some stubborn snowflakes.
Yeah, and there's more coming, Karen. Even if you don't see those right now, we think these are going to pick up in intensity and coverage as we get through the next several hours. Here's Storm Tracker 4. It's been mostly in the north zone right now and the west zone as well. But you go on the west side of the state, you can see a bigger push of moisture coming in off the lake. So we've got more to go as we get through the evening commute and then beyond. In fact, I think anything before about 7 o'clock is going to be pretty widely scattered. Once we get from 8 o'clock through about midnight, that's where we could see some accumulating snow, especially south of 8 Mile. But these are not the only chances. We're going to see it again on Friday, and then especially as we head towards next week, late Sunday into Monday, is something we need to discuss. So we will do that when we see you again in a few minutes. Karen?
Oh, you got our curiosity. Thanks, Ben. Well, from impeachment to inauguration is something we've never seen in American history. Joe Biden is about to become president, even as his predecessor still faces an impeachment trial. Today, it looks like President Trump is losing one of his most reliable allies in the U.S. Senate. Take a listen.
The mob was fed lies. They were provoked by the president and other powerful people. And they tried to use fear and violence to stop a specific proceeding of the first branch of the federal government, which they did not like.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell delivered that stinging indictment on the floor of the Senate. Still not clear when the Senate will start the trial on a single charge of incitement of insurrection. McConnell has not said whether he'll vote to convict. His comments came about 24 hours before President Trump leaves office. Kimberly Gill in the newsroom tracking the transition of power. Kim.
Hi, Karen. Good afternoon. With President Trump kicked off Twitter, we have not heard his response to the Senate Majority Leader's remarks. The president hasn't been seen in public for a week now, but he is expected to release a videotaped message at any time. Right now, we're also still waiting for a list of expected pardons and commutations. Meanwhile, Washington, D.C. remains on high alert with thousands of troops trying to prevent any trouble like we saw during the attack on the Capitol on January 6th. There's a huge security perimeter around the U.S. Capitol, but 12 National Guard members have now been removed from duty after a massive vetting process. Sources tell the Associated Press those troops were found to have ties with militia groups or have posted extremist views online. President-elect Joe Biden has left Delaware. During a departure ceremony, he became very emotional at times, thanking his family and longtime supporters for their help in finally making this presidential dream of his come true. Listen.
We love you all. You've been there for us in the good and the bad. You never walked away. And I am proud to be a son of Delaware.
Later today, the Presidential Inaugural Committee will host a memorial to remember and honor the lives lost to COVID-19. There will be events at the Lincoln Memorial and here in Detroit. We'll have live coverage of that event during our 5 o'clock newscast. Until then, Karen, we'll send it back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Kim. Now we are going to talk about a local connection to the inauguration. This amazing team of people is going to represent Michigan at the Biden inauguration. Now this year, they're part of the virtual festivities, so you're probably wondering how they will actually pull it off. Let's bring in Paula Tutman. She joins us with the secret behind what to expect tomorrow. Hi, Paula.
Hey, Karen, there's a lot of cool factor to this story. So start with, yes, there are a lot of hoops you have to jump through just to be invited to be in the inauguration. And because it's virtual, you didn't necessarily know that you were going to be in if you didn't already know. And that's what's so cool about this, because these folks, they thought they might be in it, but didn't know for sure until I called to ask them about it. They're called Michigan's Multi-Jurisdictional Mounted Police Drill Team and Color Guard.
Sergeant Mike Furlow, Saginaw County Sheriff's Department, Mounted Unit.
Deputy Joy Allier, Lenawee County Sheriff Department.
Michael Andros, Macomb County Mounted Division.
A collection of lawmen and lawwomen, retired and active duty, perched upon their worthy and talented steeds, doing what our nation was designed to do: work together, regardless of our differences, for the glory of all. And tomorrow they will represent Michigan in the inauguration festivities of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But wait, everything is virtual. And so just putting together the performance was in itself a feat for hooves.
They wanted to cancel the parade as we knew it, an in-person parade. And they wanted to know if we could put together a video of us in a virtual parade as though we were there. Being police officers, I've videoed many forensic scenes, but I've never put together a movie where we had to have props, background, this, that, and the other.
But in the first part of January, there was inclement, icy weather because, this is Michigan.
We realized that on Saturday, we had a 10-hour break between ice storms. So we went for it.
The driving horsepower behind the unit, the co-founder, Lorenzo Veal II, who pulls talented mounted officers from throughout the state and across the border.
It's still exciting for us to participate into what we consider not a national event, but a world event. Anything that happens in America is a world event.
They leave their egos and opinions at the stall. They are a public relations dream team.
You got to be all smiles at all times. One of our rules are if a child says something to us, you stop. You stop and acknowledge that child. You have to acknowledge that child, because that's how I got into law enforcement, is that a police officer way back in the early 50s stopped and acknowledged me. And I knew then at 5, I want to be a police officer.
And tomorrow they will virtually perform in their 4th consecutive inauguration.
Michigan Multi-Jurisdictional Mounted Police Drill Team and Color Guard.
They look so good. I mean, I'm so excited for them. They did want to give a shout out to Sheriff Wickersham and Macomb County Exec Mark Hackle for finding that area, Karen, where it was kind of plain in the background and they could kind of make it look like it was kind of sort of DC, but not really DC. I mean, just all the coordination they had to do. Amazing.
You really got to give them credit. And I love that they're like, okay, this is completely different than me shooting something with like forensics, et cetera. They really pulled it off. I have to ask, so when you called them today, you're like Paula Tutman, Local 4, and then you're like, bam, you dropped the news and they didn't really know that they were going to be a part of it?
Well, I called them yesterday, actually, and he said that he wasn't sure, that nothing could be announced until they were actually in, and the fact that I knew about it meant that it had been announced and blah, 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 blah. Hey, they're in. We'll see you tomorrow. Yay! Congratulations.
Love it. I do. I love it. I love it. All right. Thank you, Paula. Appreciate it. Well, we'll be teaming up with NBC News for full coverage of Inauguration Day, starting with a special edition of the Today Show at 7 a.m. Then Lester Holt and Savannah Guthrie will lead the coverage all day long. We sure hope to see you at 4, depending, of course, on how long their coverage goes. Still ahead, we're tracking a gold mine rescue workers underground for 9 days, the threats they're facing, and they did make a special request while they wait for help. Up first, fire in the sky. More video of this natural disaster that comes with a silver lining for everyone nearby.